This is Kyle Juszczyk, and you're listening to Nothing But Niners.
This is Charles Haley. You're listening to Nothing But Niners.
So now they've got to start from deep in their end of the field, and Garrison Hurst takes advantage of it. He takes the handoff, takes to his right, gets to the 20. He's in the 30, needs to cut in. He comes back up the right sideline, breaks a third tackle, comes down to the 30. He's down to the 20. He's down to the 10. He's down to the 5. He's into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! 49ers! 96-yard run from scrimmage. Garrison Hurst breaking tackle after tackle, sweeps down the sideline, throws off bodies like clothes after a marathon.
Young, back to throw. In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again, to the 35, cuts back at the 30, to the 20, the 50, the 10. He died. Touchdown, 49ers.
Third down, Alex takes the snap. Alex looking down in post, and it's good! Touchdown! Touchdown, 49ers!
It is second down. Ryan takes the snap, throws the flag to the left side. It's Russell intercepted. The 49ers pick it, and Navarro Bowman is redemption. Navarro Bowman running it all the way for the touchdown. No greater redemption.
The San Francisco 49ers. We can do whatever we want.
Click. Boom! What's going on, faithful? It's your boy Mike from the Nothing But Niners crew. And guys, we are here to overreact to all the preseason action we just experienced, or lack of. It depends on how you look at it. But before we get into that, I have to go through these formalities. So let's have some fun here, guys. Let's try to make this a good one. Let's make this a live one. I want you guys active in the chat. I want you guys to get those grievances off your mind, off your hearts, and off your chest immediately. So start filling that chat room up right now with however it is you're feeling about this game, all right? You guys see the banner down there. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If this is your first time here on the Nothing But Niners YouTube page, I want you guys to make sure you give us a thumbs up if you enjoy the show, and then make sure you subscribe, okay? Turn on your notifications so you know exactly where we're going live, because that is what the Get Down is all about here at Nothing But Niners, okay? Give us a follow on some of our social media platforms. We have Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter. Those handles are Nothing But 9. That is the number 9. Nothing But 9, ERS. We also have Facebook and Twitch. Those handles are Nothing But Niners, that is spelled all the way out. No numbers in there anywhere, all letters. So make sure you guys are applying that appropriately, okay? And last but certainly not least, guys, we have the Patreon. That is the place to be during the regular season, man, during the preseason as well. Get on over there, guys. Nothing But Niners on Patreon. We are patreon.com/NB9ERS. I am your guy, Mike Andrews 83. That is the Twitter handle. It's kind of hidden down there, but I promise you it's down there. You guys can see it right there. All right. And we're going to have some fun here, man. We're going to talk, like I said, we're going to hear from the coaching staff when they start the post-game pressers, which should be starting within the next 10 minutes or so. We're going to hear from whatever players they decide to put on in there. This is going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be hard to find some positives. There are indeed some positives, but I know that, when we lose, we want to overreact with the negatives. So let's go ahead and get this party started, man. Let's start talking about the negatives. Let's start breaking this whole thing down, man. I am looking at the comments, and you guys have them flying in right now, and I don't blame you. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't blame you at all. Man, it was tough. They said the honeymoon is over. Trey Lance has to go. And as soon as the game was over, they go back to the staff over there at NFL Network. And what are they saying right away? Trey Lance looked flustered. Sam Darnold looked so much better. What are we going to do right now, guys? What do the Niners do with Trey Lance? Are they going to try to trade him? Who's going to trade for that? Like, this is literally what they were saying. This is 100% what they were just saying. They didn't talk about how there was no protection. They didn't talk about how bad the offensive line looked. It was just Trey Lance didn't look good. It's right back to the training camp practice reports, right? It's just a matter of the quarterbacks. Nothing else mattered. There was no context behind their comments. They said that he looked indecisive. They said Sam Darnold looked much more decisive and all that. And I could see where they're coming from to an extent. I could see where they're coming from to an extent. When you look at Sam Darnold out there, he was going to that first read 90% of the time. He was absolutely going to the right side of the field every opportunity. I didn't see Sam Darnold even look to the left one time. Not one time. Not once. I didn't see him even think about looking to the left. As the first read wasn't there, Sam Darnold was as what was being reported. He was just a little flustered, right? But it is what it is. It is what it is. We are here now, and we're going to have to deal with what the outcome of this is. The league is going to crucify Trey Lance. There's some people out there that feel like Kyle's doing this on purpose. I don't subscribe to that. I don't think Kyle is doing any of that on purpose, just to be clear here. However, I do think that there are things that we could have done better to maybe protect Trey Lance, roll him out a little bit, give him some screens and all, but that didn't happen. So let's hear what head coach Kyle Shanahan actually has to say about his quarterback's performance. I'm going to bring that up right now. And like I said, we'll overreact together. This is Kyle at the presser as we speak. Okay, so let me go quiet here. I'm going to mute up, and you guys can hear what.
I mean, it got off to a rough start for everybody. I mean, 3 and outs for the whole offense the first 3 times. So I don't put that all on Trey by any means. That the whole offense was sloppy to start. That he had a real good second drive, leading there on the score. Made a hell of a play on the touchdown. I know it was almost a hell of a play for them with the pick, but that was the last guy on a bootleg. It flashed and he put it on him, and that guy came in and tipped and made a good play. But fortunately, Dwelly was there. Wish we got that short yardage so we could finish that drive. It was hard to not put him in the third.
I guess people would say, well, it was not a good play because it should have been a pick. But you're saying that was his last read?
Yeah, I mean, there was an open hole, and it was nice that he saw it, flipped, and went for it. I'm glad he tried to rip it, and it was a tight window. I mean, could put a little bit more in front of him, but the guy came and made a good play on it, and it ended up working out for us.
How difficult is it to evaluate Trey Lance when he's under that kind of pressure?
I mean, it's all the same. I mean, there's pressure in these games, and that's how they are. So I always take all that into account.
20 dropbacks for Lance, 7 handoffs. It's a little uncharacteristic for your style of play calling. Was that the plan coming in, or how did it unfold like that?
When you go 3 and out, unless you're running it 3 times in a row, the numbers will get skewed. So you're always throwing on the third down for the most part. So I think it got like that. And it's just usually when you don't play a game, it doesn't balance out. So kind of just how it went. It wasn't the plan.
What did you see from your young wide receiver group out there?
I thought they did a good job. I mean, we had a number of guys, and so we want to put some pressure on ththose guys, play them a little bit more than you do in a preseason game, especially Ronnie Bell, Tate Martin getting all that playing time. Thought they did a good job. I mean, Tate made almost a hell of a play, didn't get his feet in bounds, and thought Ronnie did some really good things in the return game, had that good jet sweep, made some good passes. His best route was the one he served up to him on the pick, so that was unfortunate, but I thought those guys did show some good things.
Kyle, you said you care more about the joint workouts than the preseason game. So overall, how would you sum up the trip counting the joint workouts?
I mean, we got 2 good practices against them. I always like it when you can do that, and we practiced real hard the second day, especially with all the ones. So that's always good, so we don't have to dress any of them today. And, I didn't enjoy that game by any means today. But a lot of guys got a lot of valuable reps and gives them a chance to make our team and gives them a chance for us to coach them up tomorrow.
How was Sam today in terms of getting the play in and just all the logistical stuff his first time through?
Yeah, he was great. All 3 of them in terms of getting the play in and getting us in and out of the huddle. And there was no issues at all.
Did you feel like they were going to the reads appropriately, or is that hard to tell at this point?
No, it seemed like it. I mean, we didn't have a very good run game, had a couple drops, had a few sacks. We just didn't play well as a whole, but there was I don't think there was many big mistakes on a misread or anything. Yeah, I thought he did a great job. I mean, coming in the second half, and you're in there with 2/3s on the O-line. Same with, the receivers and everything. So, we wanted to be careful with Sam for that reason, but we also wanted him to play too. So it was nice to be able to get Trey the whole first half, get Sam a little bit, and hopefully Sam will get a little bit more time next week. I'm not. I mean, it's unfortunate because I know the pressure on him when everyone's looking, and I know he missed those 2 today, but he's been great in practice. He's hit them all. I was just excited to attempt a long one, which was fun, but until it was missed. But he's been great. He handles himself well. So no issues here with me.
Probably you had 2 fourth downs where you didn't kick the field goal. Is that you just want the offense to stay on the field, see if they can continue the drive, or was it tied to Moody at all?
No, they're both 4th and 1s, and the first one I think was 3rd and 6, and I told the offense, you guys got 2 plays here, and but it was frustrating. I wanted us to finish that drive and get more reps for the guys, especially the quarterback, and we didn't convert on that 4th and 1. Yeah, I was assuming that maybe he wasn't. Maybe something else happened, but yeah, we're trying to get out of here too. So we want to go back home. We've been here too long.
Kyle, sorry if you've already been asked this, but what did you make of Ambry Thomas's performance?
I thought he did a good job. I think Ambry, starting off in OTAs and all the way to training camp, he's come back a different player than he was last year, and it looked like that from the sidelines. I thought he flew around, made a couple tackles, and I'm excited to watch him on the plane when I see the film.
He was off running for his life, but I mean, were there? I'm sure you have to look at it, but were there opportunities where there were quicker decisions he could have made?
Yeah, that's all. That's always the case. For anybody in this league, when there's a bunch of sacks, the line gets blamed too much. It's always usually there in the middle. There's places we get people out, and in our room, we're always hard on quarterbacks. You try to look through every way possible on how to not take the sack, and but you don't just avoid those by throwing picks and stuff too. So we'll look at it. We'll see what his chances were of being able to get those off. But I thought a couple he definitely couldn't, and a couple he probably could have. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, I'm going to take that down for now, guys. I want you guys to be able to hear me. And then there's going to be some other players that are coming in soon. They actually might be up there. Kyle said that he didn't really put a lot of blame on Trey Lance, which is weird because that is not what the consensus is in the room right now. The room is pretty much out on Lance, it feels like. I see a lot of Trey Lance hate, but there seems to be no context with it. The offensive line did not look good for any of the quarterbacks out there today. I saw someone say that Trey Lance spent the whole game in shotgun, and that's just not true at all. I was screaming for him to get in shotgun, and that didn't happen until like the last 2 drives that he had. I think he had 6 drives. The first 3.5, 4 were not in shotgun. I think I saw 1 shotgun play during those first couple of drives. But, it's okay. We're all doing this based off of memory, off of something that we just saw happen. None of us have gone back and rewatched the game. And I expect overreactions. I saw someone say the Super Bowl window has officially closed. Trey Lance is trash. They were naming all the other quarterbacks that look better than Trey Lance. But I did see people say that Sam Darnold looked more decisive and he got rid of the ball faster. I want to say that is 100% accurate. He did get rid of the ball faster. He was able to get rid of the ball to the first. He was able to get rid of the ball to the first, the first design receiver immediately, whether they were open or not, whether he was going to get them killed across the middle. He looked for the first guy, and if it wasn't open, then all of a sudden he was in a lot of trouble. But I felt like when I was watching this offensive line, man, the protection did get better as the game went on, but it almost felt like it was too little, too late. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give credit where it's due. Sam Darnold 100% seemed more decisive. I saw times where Trey wanted to be decisive, but then he kind of did this pump fake thing 2 or 3 times. His stats didn't look like how the game felt. 10 of 15, I would have thought it was a lot worse than that. That 111 QBR, I would have felt it was a lot lower than that. But it is what it is. There are a lot of things to be concerned with in addition to Trey Lance. You guys know that. You see him behind me, right? He's hanging his head. Kyle's in his ear right there, yelling at him, right? You guys know I said that I wanted Trey Lance to be the starter. It is clear that he's not going to be the starter, and I'm okay with that. I want him to earn it. I don't want anything to be given to him. But there was a lot out there that was just going on in the field. Trey Lance didn't look good. Sam Darnold didn't look good. Sam Darnold did have the best throw, I thought, of the game down the right sideline. I like seeing that from Sam Darnold. All right. But there was no time for plays to really develop. Trey Lance was a guy that if the first read isn't there, He's going to try to make something happen. He didn't have time to do that when the first read was there. He didn't have time to make the throws. Sam Darnold would get that ball out to the first read regardless. Allen had a really, really good throw. He probably had the second best throw of the game. Trey Lance's touchdown should have been a pick. I'm not going to give him a ton of credit for that. I didn't think that he should have thrown that ball. And if you watch that play, Willie Snead was wide open on the left side of the field. He was over there by the left pylon all by himself. I don't know who was supposed to be covering him. But again, there was pressure on that same exact play. You had to see Trey Lance scramble to the right, which means that he didn't have an opportunity to look to the left because he's running from the pressure coming from the left. So, it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. But it is the first preseason game. It was his first time with extended play, and he wasn't out there with any of the starters. I don't want to hear about that. Nobody dressed. It was interesting not seeing Danny Gray dressed today. Does that mean that he is penciled in as one of the top 3 wide receivers on the team? That was interesting to me. Jawan Jennings didn't dress today. I didn't see him out there. Connolly was leaned on a lot as a veteran guy out there. I did like Trey Lance targeting some of the veterans. I saw some throws to Ross Dwelly. My guy Latu did not look good, man. He did not look good. The one catch that he had, he didn't protect the ball. You running into 3 Raiders guys and you go in there loosey-goosey with the ball. You got to protect that thing like you're holding a baby and you're about to fall. What would you do if you got a newborn baby in your arms and you're falling down? You're going to cradle that baby as much as you possibly can. That's what you got to do when you're running into the teeth of the defense, man. Ronnie Bell had his ups and downs. I saw some good from the young man. I saw the bad, the turnover off his hands, right? It's good and bad to take away from this, but there are some major concerns. The depth of the offensive line, the depth of the defensive line, both look terrible. They look absolutely terrible. Second team, third team, they did not look good at all. I think that we majorly benefited as the Raiders started to cycle out some of their backup defensive linemen. It seemed like our third stringers were better than their third stringers at certain points. Our third string offensive line against their third string defensive line, it seemed like they held up a lot more. But the 49ers' depth on the defensive line was terrible all game long. All game long. There was never a point in time where I said, oh, the defensive line is getting into a rhythm now. They got better in the run game down the stretch, right? We saw some plays behind the line of scrimmage from the defensive line, but as far as pass getting any kind of pressure on the quarterbacks, it never happened. Not one time did it happen. Okay. So there's pros and cons. I'll tell you guys what I'm most concerned with. This is what I'm most concerned with. The kicker, Jake Moody, highest drafted kicker this whole draft. And it seems like McDaniels unlocked the key to getting this guy done. Just call a timeout before he kicks the ball. Just stop the clock, let him overthink, and he's going to miss without any pressure in his face at all, without anybody getting close to him. I have never seen freezing the kicker work that well. I've never seen it before. He calls a timeout right before the first attempt, gone. The second attempt, he called it before they ran the field goal unit out there. It seemed like the Niners were a little bit indecisive. Are we going to go for it? Are we going to do the kick? So as they're shuffling players, he sees the kicker start to come out, and McDaniel calls the timeout. Boom, stop the clock right now. All right, hold on. Here we go.
In your quarter plus of action?
Yeah, I think I feel like I manage things well. I think at the end of the day, we just, as a team, we just need to play better. As an offense, we need to operate a little bit better. And yeah, you put a lot of that on yourself as a quarterback. So, we just need to play better.
How challenging was it for you to have not your starting lineup in front of you with the protection?
That obviously, I think our guys are very capable. Whether it's the ones, the twos, or the threes of going in there and playing good football. We need to watch the film. Obviously our first live action, we need to watch the film, get better and figure out the things that we need to work on and work on them.
Get more out of the practices and the actual game for the preseason?
No, I think the games are, great work. Obviously practices are very important as well. But the games are great work for us to be able to go out there, operate, and play, real football. You got real refs, You got the play clock. You got the down and distance. So yeah, it's just making sure that we go out there and play good football and consistent football, move the ball down the field, and ultimately put it in the end zone.
I realize this wasn't the Super Bowl, and you played, this game for a little bit now. But I mean, did it help settle the nerves when you can complete your first pass, that nice sideline throw to Bell?
Yeah, I think in the preseason and playing football in general, you want to be able to find completions. I think that's the huge, when you're kind of out of rhythm as an offense to kind of get back on track, just finding completions and figuring out a way to move the chains. So, I think we did that a little bit, but then we kind of stopped ourselves on a couple of those drives.
Having 4 quarterbacks on a bench kind of in between series talking and going over options, is there a lot of chatter? How do you guys kind of control that and solve things?
Yeah, it's great to be able to have a bunch of input. It's not like everyone's, chit-chatting to everyone. It's if they feel like they got something important to say, they'll say it. But at the end of the day, we're listening to what Greasy's telling us, to what Kyle's thinking for the next series. And again, like I said, if anyone sees something, they'll say it. But other than that, it's, Greasy talking to us and relaying stuff that Kyle wants us to focus on.
Getting the play in, getting a read set up, all of that whole process now.
Yeah, I feel like the operation is getting better. Again, like I said, there's still a ton of things that we need to work on, but we'll work on those things and get better. Thanks, guys.
All right. So there we heard from Sam Darnold before we heard from Trey Lance. Those kind of things are kind of indicative to me. Those things mean something to me. You guys know that I've always been one of those people who look into the postseason, post-game pressers, more than most people do. Trey Lance not going to the podium first, even though he has been, off the field much longer. This says something to me. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's negative. I actually think that the team is preparing him for the questions he's going to face out there. If they send him out at all, they might not send him out. But if Trey Lance does come out, I expect it's because the team doesn't want him to say certain things. So Sam was just asked a question about, was it hard playing out there behind an offensive line that was not the starters? And he had to concentrate really, really hard to not throw those offensive linemen under the bus. I'm going to give him credit for that. I know that you guys were getting a little annoyed with the ums and the hesitation and things like that, but he was thinking before he spoke. What you don't want to do right now, and I literally mean right now, this is preseason game 1 against the team that you just practiced against. First of all, we should not have had high expectations for the 49ers coming out of two joint practices against this team. I have never seen the 49ers do well following joint practices against the team, mainly because Kyle goes more. The coaching staff does a lot more in these joint practices than what they're going to do, first of all, on film, second of all, in front of the whole world. And so this is, it's more vanilla than what the preseason typically is. All right. So I didn't expect the 49ers to do well. I don't know if you guys watched the preview show that I did with the guys on the 49ers Hive channel, but I said very clearly, I don't expect the 49ers to win. And it was hard for me to not say that we were going to get blown out, but I was pretty accurate with my assessment. I said that both sides of the offensive line are going to get destroyed. We're going to be even more vanilla than normal. But I did call the score closer than this. I don't think anybody saw this coming as far as the final score goes. But this game kind of went the way I expected it. You guys see in the description of this video where I said I'm not as surprised as I thought I was going to be. I did not expect much from the defensive line. I did not expect much from the offensive line. Okay, but this is one preseason game against the team that we just left joint practices against. And that does mean something. That does mean something. Now, I am not one of those people that say, oh, well, guys, it was just preseason. Don't worry about it. We'll be fine when the regular season gets here. I want to stop that immediately People are going to say that, and people are going to try to put a positive spin on it. There is some positive to spin here, but what I want to remind you guys that they don't do this for no reason. If that was the case, they wouldn't put guys out there. These games do mean something. So let's not sit here and act like it's not a big deal how putrid the protection was, how putrid the pass rush was. All right. I was surprised, pleasantly surprised by the secondary. I thought the secondary played pretty well. Ambry Thomas and Samuel Womack, those guys were good. Isaiah Oliver, not so much. Not so much. Yeah, the tackling on defense, putrid, horrible tackling. Good job, Forever Blessed. I see that comment right there. I completely agree with that, but they're like, those are the things you pay attention to now. You pay attention to the fundamentals, right? You pay attention to the execution of the plays that are called. If the O-line falls apart, you don't expect the quarterback to be able to overcome running for his life and make reads down the field and deliver an accurate pass and things like that, right? But tackling, all right, maybe you weren't the first guy there. Maybe you didn't get there as soon as you wanted to, but you can't miss that many tackles. I swear on everything, I saw about 12 broken tackles by Raider players today. That is unacceptable. That is absolutely unacceptable. When you get there, you make a play. You wrap these guys up. You bring them down. That's what you're supposed to do. Forget if it was a busted play or whatever. When you get there, when you get a chance to make that contact, you make the contact and you bring them down. The tackling was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan of it at all. And no, I didn't think that we were only going to score 7 points. Let me be very clear. And that 7 points was an accident, right? The 7 points was an accident. It's absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. It came off of the hands of a defender and was going to the ground, and Ross Dwelly made an amazing dive to catch that ball. Maybe Ross Dwelly is saying, hey, I am definitely tight end 2 here, guys. I'm tight end 2, not Willis, not Latu. It's me. It's Ross Dwelly. All right, here we go. We got Trey Lance up now.
Sorry. Still what you're
He didn't listen. You just said it. He didn't listen.
right. I know.
Yeah, right. You guys are getting warmed up too.
Yeah, you should not have seen my college GPA. I guess, how would you assess your performance today?
Honestly, I got to go back and watch the tape, and then I think I have a much better idea. Definitely some good, some bad, but felt good to be back out there. Excited for next week. See you get better with these guys.
Were those first 3 series a whirlwind for you, Trey? I mean, they were quick 3 and outs, and you were under pressure basically all 9 snaps.
I mean, it doesn't feel good to go 3 and out, especially to start the game. So that was definitely frustrating, but obviously put on myself. Continue to be better. Make sure the guys around me are ready to go. I'm ready to go. It starts with me. So I put that on myself.
What helped you get into rhythm that 4th drive?
I'd say more than anything, just things were opening up. Had a good feel for what they were doing, especially after these joint practices. So it felt good. Even going into the game, those first few drives, just miscommunication, guys on different pages, and got to execute.
Trey, how is your chemistry going with Chris Conley? It seemed like your best throw of the day was to him for that third down conversion.
Yeah, Chris has done a great job, man. Just being consistent. One of those guys that's always on it. And that showed today. I think he took advantage of his opportunities.
Touchdown was unorthodox.
For sure.
Yeah. Was that like a no, yes situation?
It was a yes, no, yes more situation. Yeah. Dwelly ended up making a great play. The defense made a great play. I didn't think he'd be able to get to it. But yeah, guys made plays and it ended up working out. Yeah, exactly.
Trey, there's a lot of attention on you in these games, and I'm sure a lot of people are reading a lot into it. Is it hard not to put too much pressure on yourself, given all the attention?
It hasn't been, honestly. For me, I was just excited to get back out there. Honestly, today that was the biggest thing. Go play real football again. Go compete again. So that felt good, I guess, first and foremost. But obviously, the score showed it. But just from drive to drive, just got to execute better.
Trey, can you kind of describe what goes on the bench between series when there's 4 quarterbacks sitting there and Greasy talking to you too? Are there a lot of voices, or what's kind of the main point of the discussion?
Guys kind of talk separately. If I have a question on something, or Sam or Brandon, Brock, whoever it is, has a question on something or what we saw on a certain play or concept, then we'll definitely talk through it. For the most part, it's looking at what we saw and then turning the page on to the next drive.
Right. I expect you to go through each of the snaps on those first three drives, but you're under a lot of pressure. I mean, are there some where you're just like, man, I'm kind of screwed here? And I mean, in retrospect, are there some where you could have said, maybe I could have gotten it out quicker?
Yeah, for sure. I know there's one I definitely could have thrown away and avoided a sack, or at least it felt like it on the field. But again, that's one of those things I think I really got to go back and watch the tape, and I think I'd have a better answer for you after that.
In the offseason, you said all you wanted was a chance to compete. Given how the training camp and preseason has unfolded, is this sort of what you had in mind?
Just taking advantage of every opportunity I get, one day at a time. Like I said earlier, in training camp, just trying to stay present, focused, one day at a time, and trust that whatever's meant to happen will happen.
That was a no. It's not what I expected.
Play before your touchdown throw to Ross. You broke the pocket, and right before line of scrimmage, you're able to dish it to Willie Snead. How much of that was improvised? How much did you see the play unfolding and what was scripted?
I'm all improvised once I got out of the pocket, but Willie made a great play, just keeping his eyes on me and continuing to work for me. The guys have done a great job, throughout training camp. Charlie had another one too on a scramble drill, just being able to find space and get open.
Confidence, Trey, that you need or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, every completion does for sure. But yeah, definitely like confidence in Willie, just knowing that we're on the same page. It feels good to know that we're on the same page for sure.
And then wanted to make sure that you didn't touch the ground before the ball was out of your hands.
Yeah, it was close. It was close. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm sure it was very, very close. It felt close. Awesome. Thanks, man.
All right. So Grant Cohn with the question of the segment for Trey Lance. You said going into this season training camp that all you wanted was a chance to compete. Do you feel like you're getting that? And he said, hey man, it's just one day at a time, one play at a time. And that was the most sincere and generous no I've heard in a long time. The kid sounds like he's just kind of getting the raw deal. I don't think any of us think that Trey Lance is giving the opportunity to compete for it. It's never been called a quarterback competition. It has never been referred to that way. Not once. All off season. It has not been referred to as a quarterback competition. It's not going to be that. It's not that. And, that's kind of just the world that we live in right now, especially for Trey Lance. And there's a lot of people out there that are pulling for the young man. Again, I want to remind you guys that we are Niner fans. We are here to pull for the Niners. But if Kyle's made up his mind already, then cool, he's made up his mind. At least he's getting the opportunity to compete for the backup position, right? I guess that's the way you have to look at it right now. Oh, so you didn't like that he asked that question? I thought that was a very fair question to ask Trey Lance, and he took the diplomatic way around it. Control what I can control, go out there and do what I can do, and that's kind of it, He also said something that I thought was valuable there. Anytime I break out of the pocket, it's a scramble drill. So, how many times did he actually attempt to throw from the pocket in this preseason game? That tells you there that you have to kind of throw out the design of every single pass attempt that was there. Every one of them. I think I saw Trey Lance make one attempt from the pocket. Just one. Just one. Just one. And that speaks to a lot. That speaks to the offense. They did get the offensive line moving for him. I believe it was his last drive or second to last drive, maybe the fifth or sixth drive, one of those two. They kind of moved the pocket a little bit, and he seemed a little bit more comfortable, but they moved it to the left. He went to the right. We saw that happen with Sam Darnold as well. Sam does not like to throw to the left at all. But it is what it is. He did not look good today. If you're looking at the results, he didn't look good today. And that's just what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I don't see, Rome says it's rough when Sam Darnold's here, right? You want a capable backup. If Trey Lance is shook, if he's not the guy, if he's a guy, like you don't want to just give someone a position because of where you drafted him. I think you want to give him a chance because of where you drafted him, but you don't want to just make anybody that person. You don't want to make anybody that person. I would love to see Trey Lance with the starters. I would love to see him with Christian McCaffrey back there and how that opened things up for the offense. I would love to see if he can make the dink and dunk throws and the 5 to 10 yard passes that we see. That's become the brand of Niners ball. You know, when Trey Lance is in there, it seems like the plays are longer developing. There are more shots down the field, and I'm saying more shots down the field instead of 5 yard passes or 3 yard passes or lines pass at the line of scrimmage. It seems like they're 10 yard passes, 7, 8, 9, 10 yard passes. You know, some shots sprinkled in, not shots, not long deep shots, right? But you know, beyond 10 yards. You don't see a lot of that with a lot of the other guys. That doesn't seem to be the way the 49ers play ball during the regular season. I haven't seen Lance have to do that. Even in the monsoon, he had a lot of passes that were well beyond 7 yards. Well beyond 7 yards, even in the monsoon when the weather's coming down. So Trey just didn't look good. He just didn't look good today. But we have to look at things with what they are, and that's why I was so happy to get into this preseason game. I wanted to see the context. I don't want to see people just writing and telling us what to think. I don't want to see people just telling us that we have to look at it this way. How many times did you hear throughout training camp? How many times did you see it reported throughout training camp or the joint practices that the offensive lines just looked terrible? Now, I will say you heard that the Niners got dominated in the trenches on both sides of the ball during these joint practices. That's what we heard. We did hear that. Did anybody think it was this bad? Did anybody think it was this bad? Anybody? I don't think so. I don't think anybody thought it was this bad. You hear that and it's like, oh, they gave up some pressures. We heard some would-be sacks. You know what I mean? But that was really it. You didn't hear much else. So the pressures are done for the day. All right. We heard from Kyle Shanahan. We heard from Trey Lance. We heard from Sam Darnold. That is it for the pressers for the 49ers today. That's it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody looked good at the quarterback position. I saw some good competition for that running back position. I like what I saw from TDP. I like what I saw from Mason. Mason had a terrible drop, but I like what I saw from the running back position. The wide receivers are going to be really, really hard to assess. I can't tell you if they were running the right routes. Trey said every time he broke out of the pocket, it was a scramble play. I don't know where those guys are supposed to be. You know, I got to watch them all 22 before I can give you guys that kind of assessment, but I will. We'll do a breakdown. We'll take a look at it. We'll take a deeper look at it, right? But I'm not going to sit here and start screaming. I'm not going to sit here and start saying the world is over, the Super Bowl window is over. I don't believe that. No Trent Williams. I'm not going to run through the reason why the offensive line looked as bad, blaming it on people who weren't in there. Because the truth of the matter is you can't control injuries. You can't control who's going to be in there. You have to make the best of whatever situation you're in. And I applaud Sam Darnold and Trey Lance for trying to run the plays that were called. I applaud them for trying, taking some hits, taking the pressure. You know what I mean? Trey Lance got sacked 4 times on just 6 drives. Those aren't just hits. Those were actual sacks. He actually went down to the ground with the ball in his hand 4 times on just 6 drives. I applaud them for attempting to execute the plays as designed. And Trey said, "Yeah, one time I probably could have got rid of it instead of taking a sack." You know what I mean? He put the onus on himself. You know what I mean? And so that's what you're looking for from a guy. You know, these young wide receivers. You know, it's hard to evaluate the wide receivers, right? You got Debo and you got Brandon Ayuk here. Though a lot of those guys aren't going to be playing in the X position. You know, these guys aren't going to be in there like that. So how do you evaluate them? How do you look at what they are? Sam Womack playing outside, not nickel. I was happy. I was pleasantly surprised, right? The tight ends, not really happy about what I saw from them. Fumagalli had a good catch, right? Fumagalli had a good catch. Latu had a catch, and then he turned it over. You know, he worked just as well for the Raiders as their defense did, right? Yeah. Yeah, Don is absolutely right. This is what we wanted to see from Trey. But, you know, I said it before the game. I said it on the pregame show that even if Trey went out there and completed 100% of his passes, multiple touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, it wasn't going to mean anything. The excuse is going to be, it was against backups. You know, he comes out and he looks bad. He sucks. So if he did well, if he was excellent out there, if Sam Darnold was excellent out there, they're against backups. If they do bad, if they did poorly, no one cares that our offensive line looked bad. They just simply want to say that he was trash. They want to just negative, 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 negative. I think that we got to see a little bit of the context. I think we got to see a little bit of the context. The 49ers did not look good today. They didn't look good. Jameson looked all right in some of those returns. I think we might have something there. I think the competition between him and Bell for the return man for those first 8 weeks, I think that's going to be something that we're going to be talking about. I'm looking forward to those return competitions. Jameson and Bell. Now Bell had the one ball that came off his hands, went over his head and into the defender's arms. Right place, right time. He tried. I'm not gonna fault the rookie and say that he's trash because of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm never gonna do that. I was very happy with Ronnie Bell for overall today. I was very happy. It's the first time I got to see him in a 49ers uniform, and I was happy with what I saw. I was very happy with Jameson out there. Those returns, those were good, except for one. One of them, my man came out of the end zone like halfway in the end zone, 5 yards deep in the end zone, and got to like the 15, and there was a penalty on the play. There was a penalty on the play. Like that you never want to do that. That was when Sam Darnold was in. That was second half. But guys, it's about situational awareness also, right? You're allowed to do a fair catch inside the 25, and they will advance the ball to the 25. You do a fair catch at the 5-yard line, not in the end zone. You do a fair catch at the 5-yard line during this preseason, and you get the ball to the 25. Now, that's not a way to evaluate these guys' return ability, so maybe Kyle didn't care about that. Maybe he instructed those guys not to do it, but you don't have to bring every single one of them out. You don't have to do that. I saw one kickoff from the Raiders where my man looked like he was going to field it, and then he stepped forward and put his arms out saying, let it go. I saw that happen one time. So it is what it is. This is Brock Purdy's team. This is Brock Purdy's team. Kyle has made that very, very clear. This is Brock Purdy's team. Trey Lance is competing with Sam Darnold. But what I don't like, I wish the Niners would do something to address the national media. Like I said, as soon as the game was over, immediately after the game, you got Steve Mariucci and Mike Robb. They're sitting there and they're talking about, shouldn't they trade Trey Lance? Immediately after the game, shouldn't they trade Trey Lance? They didn't talk about how bad the offensive line was. Lindsay, she was it Lindsay? Is that her name? I'm sorry if I got the wrong name for the young lady. She said right away it was ugly for Trey Lance, but that offensive line didn't help him at all. There were some drops. I mean, she ran it down. She ran it down as they were running the replays, but that seemed to be it. So, what I'm gonna do, man, I don't know if I should do this or not, but I think I'm gonna open up the phone lines. I want to hear from the faithful. I want to hear what you guys have to say about what we just experienced, about what we just saw from Trey Lance, from this 49ers team. I'm going to open up the phone lines for better or worse. I'm going to open up the phone lines.
MV9 ERS. MV9 ERS is connected. Ready to connect.
Phone lines. I want to hear from you guys, man. We are in preseason mode. Let's see what these overreaction shows are going to be like. All right. If you guys don't have the phone number, they'll be coming across the bottom of your screen in a second here. All right. You guys give us a call. We got the Cali number for this year. Going to try to keep this thing all year long so you guys don't have to keep locking in different numbers for the Nothing But Niners show. Okay. But here you go. Phone number's on the bottom of the screen, 628-270-2495. I got to get the 49 in there somewhere. We got our first call here. All right. Hey, you got us? All right, hold on. I got you. Hold on. I got to work my magic with the phone line. We know about the problems. Bear with me. You there?
Yeah, I'm there.
All right, what's going on, big dog?
Ain't nothing. Hey, I was just still. They cannot hear a word I'm saying.
No, they can hear you. What you mean?
I went through it on my YouTube and watched it over. They cannot hear. I can hear myself better than them.
You guys can't hear them? You guys give us a thumbs up. I'm not asking for a like. I need something in the chat, guys. Let me know if you guys can hear. Say something else for us real quick, man.
This is nice. 49.
Can y'all hear E Nice? Yeah, we got him. Yeah. They're saying they can hear you, bro. You good?
All right.
They said it sounds muffled. We're coming through a Bluetooth, so the quality isn't going to be all that. I don't have a line tapped in, but they're giving you a thumbs up. They can hear you.
It's preseason. Preseason. We don't want to overreact, but we did look down.
Oh, let me say this too while we got the phone lines open before I get back to you, E-Nice. If you guys want to call and just leave a voicemail, I will play the voicemail on the air. Okay, so I'm not gonna answer calls as I got somebody on the line. But if you do call and you get the voicemail, you feel free to leave a voicemail. I will just play the voicemails on the air. I want you guys to sound off and say what you need to say. Just know that beep noise that you hear, I can't stop that when you guys call in. So that's call waiting. All right. So E-Nice, man. Are you worried at all? Are you saying it's not a big deal? Is that what you're trying to tell me right now?
I'm saying that it's the beginning, lays the progress. CMC, Trent Williams, Ayuk, a lot of people over there.
Okay.
So let's just I gotta calm myself down. I was watching. I'm like, this ain't looking like.
Really? Really? One of the big problems with it being preseason and all that is the overreaction part of it. I've seen people saying this team is trash, and Niner fans too. I understand that we got some Seahawks fans in the chat. We got some Rams fans, some Eagle fans in the chat. I believe I even saw a Steelers fan in here. But it's Niner fans saying that, this team is trash. The Super Bowl window closed. How bad is that overreaction in your opinion?
I think the thing is, I think we got fans, then we got foes. Some of these fans ain't. I mean, they not real. They talking about fan Kirk Cousins and everybody else.
Yeah, man.
We need to be working with the teams we got right there.
I hear you. What'd you think about the quarterback play?
Yeah, not good.
Right.
I mean, the only touchdown we got was a mistake, a bobble, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
A deflection from a defender. Not even a deflection from our own guy. Deflection off the hand of the defender. Yeah, man.
Mason do better. But I say, what's our boy in the middle? He did pass. Brown did okay. He did some other something. Our linebackers, second and third, that's good.
Here we go.
No.
Here we go, man. I saw D Winters out there making a play or two. DFF, man, he had one really good play early on, and then all of a sudden it was downhill from there. I didn't know what the hell happened to Demetrius Flanagan Fouls, man. That was not a good showing from him. I expected him to be the leader out there. You know what I'm saying? I expected him to be the leader out there, man. I was a little concerned with him,
I feel that was good.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Any positives? Any positive takeaways? Can you name someone that surprised you, maybe?
Lonnie.
Okay.
And I think they had to tackle.
Okay.
But I think all of them need to do better.
I feel you on that, man. E-Nice, man. I'm gonna let you go. We can try to get some other calls, though. Okay.
No doubt, Mike. 29 is what we do.
All day, baby. That's what we do, man. Guys, hold your head, man. It's not the end of the world. I promise you guys that. It's not the end of the world. I'm not saying everything is okay either. Let me be very clear with what I'm saying. I'm not saying everything is okay, but we got a shot. Let's see what some of these voicemails said.
Mike, I'm thankful. This is Jack. I want to say that I think Trey did okay. He had some good passes. He had some bad passes. But, I mean, he hasn't played ball in forever. He was hurt, last year. I mean, he really hasn't played a whole season. So, I just think that it was going to take a little time for him to gel, but he'll eventually get it,
I'm going to pause it there. I have not heard one person say that about Trey Lance. I have not heard one person say that he's also coming off of an injury. It's interesting. I heard people say that about Brock during the practice reports. I heard people say that about Brock all offseason. all offseason. He's working his way back. He hasn't played. He's coming back from an injury and all that stuff, and it was on his throwing arm and all that. I haven't heard anybody say that Trey Lance is coming off of an injury. Kudos to you, Jax. Let me let you finish your voicemail.
And I root for him, Brock, Sam, because I'm a 49ers. I just think that our O-line was rough. It wasn't good. So he didn't get the protection that he needed.
He was cleared in February, Pete.
And also from the calls, Big Hal had dialed up for him. I think that played a part. And then overall,
Hold on, let's get back to Jack's voicemail here. Let me decline the incoming calls. Sorry, Jax.
I might protection that he needed, and also some of the calls, Big Hal had dialed up for him. I think that played a part too. You know. Overall, I think it's gonna take a minute for him to get it going.
She thinks it's gonna take a minute.
Him, like I support Sam. You know what I'm saying? That's just me though. I know everybody's different. Some people's on the Trey train, some people's on the Brock. I'm just on the quarterback train.
Okay.
At the same time, I just want to see Trey, do good. I'm not gonna down him as if.
Oh, she ran out of time. She ran out of time there. Only a minute and a half on there, okay? Now, again, guys, I was just pointing it out. I don't want y'all to think at all for a second I was making an excuse for him. I just said she's the first person I heard mention that he's coming back from an injury as well. That's all I said. So let's be clear with what I'm saying, all right? Don't put words in my mouth. Don't exacerbate my points. To take my word for what they were. And also shout out to Jax for the first super chat of the 49ers, the Nothing But Niners overreaction shows this season. So she had the first super chat of the overreaction shows. Okay. So shout out to her. She said she's a fan of all those guys. She wants to see them all. She's just trying to add her view, her context to it. You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty cool. She didn't say that was why he was bad. She's just saying that, no one mentioned that, and she was the first one I heard mention it. So shout out to Jax. All right, we got an incoming call. Let's get this one here. Hold on one second. Make sure you got your background turned down. Make sure you got your background turned down. I'm gonna get you on the Bluetooth in 1 second, okay? Just bear with me here. All right. Who we got the pleasure of speaking to?
Yo, what up, bro?
What's going Paul? Boston's in the building, baby. I like that. What's going on, man? Give me a breakdown. What you see out there today?
What's up, Mike, man? That's a couple of things. The newspaper president Kyle Shanahan game club, but he want to go there. He like dress so weird. All these train answers are bust. All these train answers trash. Train answers people. There's no context. What you weirdos, bro? Social media. What's your context? I'm great, man. But it's that the quarterback is dead. As long as you win, it's to be. It's time. Like, it's the time. Yeah. Well, I'm going to people is talking about is I have to say I'm worried about a lot of depth.
Well, hold on, J-Dog. Hold on. Before you get to the lack of depth, let me just say I know exactly what Trey Lance was supposed to do today. I got the answers for Trey Lance. So every time he took a snap, what he should have done was drop back 20 yards. He should have dropped back 20 yards so that way he had time. And he's got to overcome the terrible offensive line and the protections and all that stuff. That's what he was supposed to do.
He's got to become terrible right side, like, the boy, how Christian right side of the offensive line. I think a still quarterback still on here. The first thing you should have been doing. So now We got a bum at Cole McKinnon to start the regular season. And guess what? He goes down and not just the team. First thing, what's going to happen when he goes down and you got bums, all these bums to kill? Whoever the hell that was, number 75. Well, even in the building. It's ridiculous. Keep it more, man. And here, quarters, next press, passes down the field. Still, 10, right side. I want to pop perfect. Mike. And even when the glasses on, they want to fix the fact now, that's the best in the defensive line. That's something that bothered me. You know, the field was horrible. The play the 10 months, the PK in there, it was horrible. We knew, we heard that there wasn't a password to get that flat. So he got that, he could have pushed by him. One of the things right there that I wanted about that side, the fact, I don't see some finish, and I'm going to say it again.
They're saying that they can't hear you. This is crazy.
But you had 4 quarterbacks hold down in one year. 2 in one game. When the whole world saw they would have clearly been in a Super Bowl and had somebody that could play quarterback. You don't address it.
All right, man.
At all.
Listen, man, I'm gonna let you go.
It's ridiculous.
I'm gonna let you go because they're saying they can't hear you. I'm gonna recap what you just said. I'll give them all the rundown. They're saying no, it's not you. So what happens is this speaker that I'm using is actually designed for music. You have a deeper voice, so it comes out as more bass than it does high pitch. That's why we could hear Jack so clearly. She's got the higher, she's the treble. You're the bass, and so people with deeper voices coming through the speaker, it brings the lows out really, really well. So it's not you guys out there. It's the speaker that I'm using. This is one for audio as far as like high quality music. It's gonna enhance the lows and the highs all at the same time. But if you got more lows coming in, then it just sounds terrible. So it's not him. It's not the call.
Well, my bad. Yeah, I appreciate you taking my call, Mike. And peace to you, boy. As always, man. Let's just be fan, bro. Walking in the mother house.
I love it.
Let's go.
I love it, man.
Here. Wake up, bro.
There you go. I'll recap them for you, man. Don't worry about it. I got you.
All right, cool, bro.
All right. So what he was saying, guys, is that, we at some point we have to start taking we have to start looking at what is with this team. And if the quarterbacks are getting injured over and over and over every single season, why don't we invest more in the offensive line? Why don't we invest better protection? Now, this is preseason. You were going to see the backups anyway. We have no idea what the starters look like and how well they're going to be able to protect. But he's saying that, Kyle, at some point you gotta invest in the team. He said, the whole world watching, we lost 2 quarterbacks in one game. That was with the starting offensive line out there. We lost 2 quarterbacks in one game. He's saying that maybe we should be investing more in that kind of position and that kind of for this team, for the well-being of this team and for the franchise. We talked about Jimmy Garoppolo not being able to stay healthy. While that may be true, but is it because of the offensive line? Could these guys be protected more? Even when these guys were completing passes, a lot of times they were getting hit. He's saying that maybe we need to just start investing in the offensive line a lot more, not just a little more. We're drafting these rookies and all that stuff, and then we're moving them all over the offensive line. We got them playing center. We got them playing guard. We got a tight end that's playing tackle. Like it's kind of a clusterfuck. I understand what he was saying, and I don't fault anybody for their passion. I am here to let people overreact, whether I agree, disagree, or anything like that. I just want to let you guys know I am recapping what he was saying. We got to do better as a franchise. They talk about protecting the blind side. Forget just the blind side. Let's protect the quarterbacks altogether. Trey Lance got sacked 4 times on 6 drives, again with the backups. I understand that. But what if that was exacerbated throughout the entire game? He'd have been sacked double digits in one game. He'd have been sacked double digits in just the one game. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate the passion. I am here for it. I'm here for it, and context matters. What if we had a good offensive line that could have protected Brock Purdy throughout that whole NFC Championship game? Do we win that game? Do we go on to win a Super Bowl? Who knows? Who knows? We'll never know. What happens when we have a quarterback play all the games of the regular season? It's happened one time and we made it to the Super Bowl. It has happened one time and we made it to the Super Bowl. We went through a show with the guys at the Hive a couple days ago, and I think we got up to 7 or 9 different quarterbacks playing for this team, right? It was Hoyer, it was Beathard, it was Mullins, it was Jimmy, it was Brock, it was Lance, it was Johnson. Like, I mean, if you are a quarterback on this roster, you're getting playing time. You're getting playing time. I think the only quarterback that I didn't see play in an actual game for Kyle Shanahan that was on this roster was Josh Rosen. It was Josh Rosen. You know what I'm saying? So I understand exactly what he's saying. At some point, it can't just be that the quarterbacks can't stay healthy, it's that we can't protect them. We can't protect them. You know, so I understand what he was saying. I appreciate the passion. Let me see if there were any voicemails that were left really quick. Let me just double check that and see if we have any voicemails here. All right. Do we have any voicemails? We actually got a text message. It looks like Kyle has to coach a lot better and we lack talent. Trey needs to be traded ASAP. I'm finished with him. No talent on our backup units or on our backup units. Moody definitely was a wasted pick, shaking my head. I'm surprised nobody said anything about Moody so far with the call-ins. I'm surprised nobody said anything. We do have a voicemail. Let me see if it was a real voicemail or if it was just one of the hangups after the phone rang. Let's see.
What's up? What's up? It's Forever Blessed.
Forever Blessed.
Hey, man, I just want to say Trey Lance, he didn't look too good.
Lance didn't look too good.
Kind of bad.
Yeah.
The line was terrible. I hope it's just one big smoke screen. If not, we got a lot of work to do. Go Niners, baby.
I appreciate the call. My man didn't say his name, but I do appreciate the call and the voicemail that you left. I thank you guys for that very, very much. Did I play this one? Is this Jax again?
Oh, my.
Yeah, that's Jax. So we played that one already. I'm just checking. I'm going through to see if there were any more voicemails. Guys, the phone line is still open if you want to try to call in. Take the phone away from your mouth as you're speaking so it doesn't come through. Oh, and also, if you're calling, don't put it on speaker. Use your regular phone microphone also. Okay, that'll help as well. You guys, feel free to call in again. And like I said, if we don't answer, please leave a voicemail. You can call in again really quick. Okay. But yeah, man, Moody to me is the bigger story than the quarterbacks. And that's all of them. I'm talking about Sam Darnold. I'm talking about Allen. I'm talking about Lance. I think Moody is the bigger story. As high of a pick as Sam Darnold was, as high of a pick as Trey Lance was, and the stuff that we gave up for him, we took a kicker in the 4th round, and all you got to do is ice him. All you got to do is ice him. This was supposed to be the man. All offseason, I heard about how he was just perfect in the kicking game, that it was a real kicking competition. Well, where was Gonzalez? Where was Gonzalez in that game? I didn't see him even touch the field. Was he there? Did he dress? Did he dress today? You call a timeout and you guarantee the Niners miss the kick and you get the ball in great field position. You call a timeout and you ice him easy. They were 2 for 2 on the icing of the kicker. That's trouble because this kicker is going to be the starter. He can miss for the rest of preseason. He'll be the starter because they invested something in that position right there. They don't want to pay the veteran. That veteran's contract becomes guaranteed. They want to pay the rookie. They want to pay the rookie. And he missed bad, too. I'm not talking about, he just barely missed. He didn't just barely miss anything. He didn't barely miss. It was bad. It was terrible. I didn't like seeing that. I'm surprised people aren't more upset. Uh-oh. Tony's calling in. I don't know if Tony knows we're live. Let's see. Tony, you there? Tony? Uh-oh. Hold on a second. I got to try to get you to come through the speaker. I don't know why it's not working. Hold on. Give me something. Say something, Tony. All right. There we go. We're live on the Overreaction show, man. What are your thoughts? What's up?
Watching it. That's all. We didn't watch the game, you know that. So I don't know. I just watched what you said about Moody, the kicker. I breezing through a couple articles, and watching replays and highlights, it seems like nobody played. I mean, am I wrong? Am I saying that?
No, nobody showed. I can't say nobody showed up. I think Ambry Thomas had a hell of a game. I said it.
No, I mean like people like with significant chance of playing, like making the roster and contributing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, this was an all depth game in my opinion. I think Thomas might have a shot at maybe being an alternate, in the secondary, or it might be one of the real backups out there. You know what I'm saying? Womack. But as far as like linemen and all that stuff, these are all people fighting for roster spots. It's all people fighting for roster spots.
Fringe players.
Yes, yeah, I think this game was all about fringe players. Even Demetrius Flanagan fouls. A lot of people were high on Winters. Winters had a decent game in my opinion. DFF might be a fringe player at this point. I'm trying to think of what other players. Latu, the one reception turned it over. Fringe player, you know what I mean? Fumagalli, the tight end, fringe player as well, in my opinion. I don't know how many people that are actually going to make this team were on the field tonight. Obviously there's going to be some, right? We got a field 53, so there's going to be some, but I don't know.
So basically, real quick, watching a couple highlights on YouTube. Everyone's hyped up on Trey with the new quarterback code, working with him. Everything looks great, in OTA, training camp, and with the Raiders. And it just seems when the Bullets were fully live, he reverted back to his old ways.
Okay. Now, can I defend that a little bit? Just a little bit. I don't have a big defense.
What you're going to say as far as protection?
Well, that's what I was going to say. So he said himself, every time he had to break the pocket, it became a scramble drill. I think that the fundamentals and planting your feet and all that kind of goes out the window. That's all I was going to say.
But I don't know. I didn't watch it. I'm just trying to find what I could on YouTube, like highlights and stuff. But looking at the numbers that were on that field, you're talking about people that are fighting for bottom of the roster spot, and like guys that are getting speed time that, in my opinion, should need having reps. But I mean, it is. I think the number one factor of all, health. Anything with injuries.
Yeah, any I agree with you, man. Any injuries, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. I agree with you there.
Yeah. So, I mean, was there any injuries from this game?
No. Knock on wood, and that is a major, major positive. Knock on wood there, man. I didn't see a single injury for the 49ers. Actually, I didn't see an injury for the Raiders. There was one guy who was down on a knee at one point, but he did get up and walk off the field. So I'm happy for both teams in that aspect. I hate injuries. I absolutely hate injuries. Oh, Kinlaw. They're telling me Kinlaw played, and he is going to make the roster. But he only played, I think, 3 series on defense. I think Kinlaw was only in there for 3 series on defense. He was good in the run game. Obviously, he's not a pass rusher. He was good in the run game. That was about it.
Okay. Like I said, I didn't watch up. Just catching highlights. So
yeah,
that's all. I just want to call what seems up and just talk for a couple.
When's your next day off, Tony? Or when are you going to be available during the day again?
Wednesday.
You want to do a rewatch with me?
I'm watching it when I get home.
That's not what I asked. See, look at me. Tony knows I'm putting him on the spot. This guy is good. This guy is good right here. That was a media trained answer right there.
I'm watching it when I get home.
All right.
And we're gonna want to do something during the day or at night. We'll do it.
Yeah.
I got a feeling there's gonna be a lot to talk about.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. There's going to be a lot to talk about. We'll break down the all 22. We'll see things from an aerial view just to see who was running better routes than what we thought. You know what I mean? Because the one thing about the wide receivers in particular, they don't know that the offensive line broke down. They're running, and then when they turn around, when they get to their keys, oh shit, it's a scramble drill, and then they start moving afterwards. So that's gonna. I want to see the separation and all that from these young wide receivers with that the camera during the game doesn't show.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man.
I'm gonna jump off because I gotta go back to work.
All right, man. Get that money, man. That's my guy, Tony, man, our resident GM, holding us down, representing from work, man. These guys are taking time to take breaks and come in here and talk to us. You know what I'm saying? I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Oh man, where's my guy? Look, I see my guy Ali out there, man. All right, let me get to some of these super chats. The phone isn't ringing, so I'm gonna bust down some of these super chats we got in here, man. Jax had the first one of the preseason overreaction show. Jack, shout out to you. I appreciate it. She says here, Trey had a few issues. He had a few good passes, but that damn O line, whew, terrible. Everything is gonna be okay. Hopefully, we can get it together. And that's kind of how you got to look at it. I'll be honest with you guys. There was some good, there was some bad, but overall, man, I don't expect to see good plays from any of these guys. Any quarterback. I don't care if Purdy was out there. I don't care if Jimmy Garoppolo was out there. I don't care if Tom Brady was out there. You can't play consistently behind an offensive line that looked like that. And I think that's key. You know, thank God there wasn't any of our starters out there, because then I'd be super worried. You talk about panicking. If I saw that, if this is game 3 and this is the dress rehearsal and that's what I saw, then I'll go into panic mode. But right now, I'm not gonna quite panic, because we're talking about plugging and playing one guy, not all 5. So that does make a difference. That does keep a little bit of weight there. All right, Peter. Peter's been commenting heavy in here. I like it. He says, "Let's keep it a buck. Lance looked whack as AF." All right, and look, he did. I'm not making any excuses for it. It's going to be really, really hard for me to sit here and say, "Oh, Lance looked good." No, you know, Tony mentioned something that was really cool, and I thought that goes, you know, where are all the fundamentals? Where's this new throwing motion? Where is this and where is that? But my retort to him was, how can he show a throwing motion? How can he plant his feet when everything he was doing was on the move, on the run, scrambling around, turning, and quickly trying to? Yeah, you're going to revert back. You are absolutely going to revert back when that starts happening. So I get it. I would have loved to seen Lance make some throws from a clean pocket. He did step up one time, but he pump faked. He pump faked, man, and I didn't like that, man. I saw him step up in the pocket, and then he just let it go. He let it go. And the Raiders are going to talk. Listen, guys, don't let the Raiders talk get you guys down. You know, we'd be celebrating if the score was flipped. We'd be saying, "Oh man, look at how good this team look. Look at all these young studs that look good, man." We made their rookies look good all game long. Their DB, they had this one guy that got his hand on 3 different passes, man. So you know, yeah, they earned it. Let's not go out there and hate. They earned it. They took what happened in the joint practices and carried it over to the field. That's what you want to see, man. It's okay. Don't let them get you down, guys. But yeah, Trey Lance did not look completely good out there. I'm going to skip this next super chat from Sean, because it's a big one. I'm going to leave that one up there a long time when I get to it. Cruz says here, Mike, who do you think stood out on a positive tip? And I've said this a couple of times, Cruz. Thanks for the super chat, everybody. But he says, you know, who do you think stood out on the positive tip? Again, I really, really like what I saw from Ronnie Bell and Jameson. Those guys look really, really good back there as return men. Ronnie Bell is a wide receiver. The 6'4" guy, Isaiah Winstead, I think his name is. Winstead looked good, I thought. I really like what I saw from Winstead as well. There was a guard down the stretch. I don't think he gave up any pressures. I can't remember his name. I'm going to be lying to you guys. I don't even remember the number. But there was a guard that looked really, really good. When we do the rewatch, I'll break that down also. But I saw a guard in there that looked pretty good. And considering he was with the 3rd team, again, going against the Raiders' 3rd and 4th team, right? I understand that as well. There's context with everything. But there were some positives to take away from here, guys. Womack looked pretty good. Who else do I think looked good? I didn't see Jair Brown really getting beat deep, so that's a positive, right? That was one of the things that I was worried about, him in coverage. But there wasn't a lot of deep shots that were happening even from the Raiders. You know, the Raiders were taking what the Niners were given. They played the sticks a lot. The Niners they played the sticks, and the Raiders players made plays at the sticks. So it's going to be hard to see and evaluate what Jair Brown did. But you know, Jersey strong. He wasn't a liability out there. That was one of my predictions. I thought that the Raiders were going to take advantage, take some deep shots, because all I heard throughout camp and, you know, from his collegiate career was that the speed was lacking. I thought maybe they would try to take advantage of that. They didn't. So kudos to him. I like seeing that a lot from him as well. All right. He also said, if you answered already earlier, my fault. I heard Kinlaw's name early in the game. Yeah, Kinlaw was solid against the run. He's not a pass rusher. He's not going to go out there and get any. There was no pressure on these quarterbacks at all. But you know, Kinlaw did get. I saw him get pushed one time, and I was like, "Ooh, that was bad on Kinlaw. That was bad on Kinlaw." But it was a pass play. They moved the pocket, and he kind of got pushed out of the way on that one. That's all about angles and leverage. So you know, they did what they were supposed to do against Kinlaw in that situation, in that scenario. So I'm not mad at them on that. All right. But it's all good, man. I don't mind answering questions again. That doesn't bother me at all. Gerald, thanks for the super chat. He says, I'm kind of glad we got our ass beat like that early. Get Kyle off his high horse. Now it's time to do something about it. And I like this also. I like this also. Right now, again, after a joint practice, I think we're going to lose every time. I don't think the Niners go out there with intentions to win a preseason game in general. I think it's all about evaluation, but even more so after a joint practice session. They don't try to show anything at all. They don't want to show anything at all. People were saying, why didn't we move the pocket more? Why didn't we do some play action and all that? We tried to play action pass with Trey Lance. We tried some play action passes with Darnold as well, and there was just pressure there. There was pressure there. If people aren't going to bite on the play action, they just go after the quarterback. That's what happens. We saw that happen with McGill. McGill came right up the middle of the field and tackled the quarterback, but the quarterback didn't have the ball. If they're committed to just going after the quarterback, play action doesn't make a difference at all. If they make up their mind, we're going to hit this quarterback no matter what. That's what's going to happen. And so that's what they did. That's what they did, But Kyle, they're going to get it together. This wasn't real game planning. This wasn't studying the tendencies of the defensive players and trying to come up with a plan of attack and all that stuff. That's not what this was. So I do believe that the game scenarios are going to be different. Aside from the players out there, the game scenarios are going to be different. So I'm not super worried just yet. All right. And then here's the biggest super chat I've seen of the day, man. Of the preseason, of the year so far. Sean Shepard says Mooch is Jim Harbaugh, except with zero history of winning. Look at our postseason record with him. But he'll talk like he's a genius. He's the guy his peers look at and say, he's head coach. Long year. Yeah, so Sean, I like what you're saying here. I like Mooch's personality. I like that he tries to call it how he sees it. You know what I'm saying? He's got a soft spot in my heart because he was a coach of the 49ers, but I absolutely get what you're saying. What did he actually do? What did he actually win? Even with the Lions, right? What did you actually do? What did he actually win? And there's not much there, but he's got a likable personality as long as you're not offended when he says they should try to trade Trey Lance. As long as that doesn't bother you or offend you, Mooch has got a really good personality. He's a good guy. I like Mooch, man. I heard someone say, damn it. I can't remember. Mike Robb made an expression. It's a common expression. And he was like, can I borrow that? Can I say that later? It's little stuff like that that makes me like Mooch. You know what I'm saying? So I don't hate him for what he did or what he said. It is what it is. But we got to talk about someone else on the 49ers defensive line that I saw, Cleveland Farrell. I haven't said his name yet, and I should have. I absolutely should have. He had 2 or 3 really, really impressive plays. I believe he got a sack or 2 as well. Cleveland Farrell was out there. Guys play well against their former team. I mean, there was a sack of a 49ers quarterback from a former 49er. These guys go out there and they play well against their team. They got something to prove. You guys let me go. I'm going to show you why you regret it. You know what I'm saying? So I like seeing that. I like seeing that. Cleveland Farrell, man, we might have something there, guys. There might be something there. Former first-round pick by the Oakland Raiders. I said Oakland because that's the team that drafted him, but they let him go, and the Niners are going to take him and make something out of him. I like that. I like that a lot, all right? Let me see. Are there any other – no calls still? The phone's not ringing. All right. If you guys don't have anything else, I'm not going to make this one of those long 2-hour shows at all. Okay. I'm not going to make this one of those long 2-hour shows. I'm going to let this one go, man. I'll let it go, man. Mike taking shots at France. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? At France? Did I say something about France? French people? I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know what that means. I saw some comments from my man Ali at some point in here. Where'd those comments go? Where did Ali's comments go, man? You guys are active in this chat today, man. I like it. Oh, here we go. Mike, what was your overall assessment of the team and Trey today? It's not good. My overall assessment was not good. If you guys want me to assign letter grades overall as a team, I'm going to say a D-. D-. Some of these guys that we invested a lot in, they didn't come through. Mainly the kicker. I think he was the most disappointing piece of the team. I get it was only 2 attempts, but you can't miss wide like that. 5 yards one way, 12 yards the other way. You can't miss like that, man. You can't miss like that. I didn't like that at all. As far as giving the quarterbacks grades, I would give let me start backwards. Allen, I would give him a C. I think Allen wasn't terrible out there. His turnover was off the hands of a wide receiver he put there. He had some hospital balls, some high throws, you know what I mean, but wasn't the worst I've seen at the quarterback position. Definitely wasn't the best. I'll give him a solid C. Go backwards to Sam Darnold. I'm going to give him a C plus. I'll give Sam Darnold a C plus. He got the ball out of his hands quickly. He went to his first read every time he could. I think he had to throw up the game. You know what I'm saying? I think he had to throw up a game. So I'll give him a C plus. I don't think it was good enough to give anybody a B or an A. And Trey Lance, I'm going to give him a C minus. I'm going to give him C minus. I wasn't happy with what I saw. Again, that is taking everything into context for me. I felt that there was one play in particular Lance could have stepped up in the pocket, but he kind of backed out and ran into pressure. I didn't like that. But he was on the go a lot. It's really, really hard to evaluate these guys, especially without seeing the all 22 and seeing if people were open early for him to take advantage of. That's really, really hard. So my grades right now, as they are subject to change. The run game, I'm going to give a B. B plus. I think for the most part, those guys got what the offensive line blocked for. There was a failed 4th-and-1 attempt by Ty Davis Price. That should have been a first down. That absolutely should have been a first down. And then there was a pass on 4th down that the Niners made, and the guy, or it was a 3rd down. They challenged it. He got his toe in. And then his heel went down out of bounds, and they overturned it. They called it a reception at first. They overturned it. That was a terrible overturn. Tay Martin. It was Tay Martin. That was a phenomenal catch on the sideline by him. He caught the ball backwards, going backwards. The one foot came down flat. The second one, he got the toe down, then the heel landed on the line, but the toe should have counted. The toe should have counted. I thought that was terrible by the officiating crew to review that and say that it didn't come down. I saw it clear as day. That should have counted. I'm going to give the wide receivers a B. The few opportunities the wide receivers actually got, I thought they did pretty good with those opportunities. I'll give the wide receivers a B. I'm going to give the running backs a B. I like what I saw from the run game. They took what was blocked for them. They did get a couple of extra yards here and there. Mason and TDP is going to be a fun competition to watch. I liked what I saw from those guys. The offensive line did not block well, even in the run game. The outside zone, I didn't see a lot of that at all. But I liked what I saw from the running backs overcoming. If they blocked for a yard, they got that yard. There were some plays where I think they were supposed to block for more than that, and they didn't. You had some 4-yard runs here and there. I think the longest run of the day might have been 7 or 8 yards. I don't even know if it was that much. But they got what was there for them. So I do appreciate what the running backs did for us. I think the secondary was better today than what I expected them to be. I think the secondary, you can say that they gave up a lot of yards and all that stuff, but the yards came on screens, the yards came on checkdowns and all that stuff. They didn't get beat deep and over the top. There was one big play that I saw, but one big play is not enough for me to say it was a bad game by the secondary, especially with them shuffling guys in and out. I'll even give them a B. But when the defensive line and the offensive line gets whooped the way that they did, there's no way I can give this team even a C, an overall team. I can't give them a C because of the vanilla coaching and not showing anything. That's bad. The play calling itself was not good today, but it wasn't supposed to be good. That's by design. But for what it was and what it was worth, I would give the play calling even a D. I didn't like that at all. Special teams, okay. Kicking gets an F. The return men, I'm going to give them a C minus, a C minus. Again, but you don't know what these guys were instructed to do. They might have been told, "Hey, bring it out. If it's 5 yards or less into the end zone, bring it out." Right? This preseason, there's a new rule that they adopted from like XFL or something like that. Fair catch inside the 20, you can bring it out to the 25, and they didn't take advantage of that at all. We didn't get to the 25 a lot. We had penalties on almost every kick return attempt. That's terrible. That was terrible. I didn't like that at all. And I heard someone during the game, they said the Niners had 1 penalty in the first half and 6 in the second half. And I was like, well, that can't be because all the kick returns, there was a penalty on. Then I went back and looked, and they only had 1 kickoff well, there was 2 kickoffs that the Niners received in the first half because the Raiders only scored once. So it actually did check out. It did make sense. So I didn't like the special teams units at all. There was some really good coverage. My man, who was he? Number two. He I saw there was a punt and he was blocked well. He lowered his shoulder, ran over his guy, and was there and involved in the tackle. It was 3 guys that converged on him at the same time. Isaiah Winstead, man. I liked what I saw from Isaiah Winstead on that play. So, the coverage units weren't the best, but that one play was good. I still didn't like the special teams unit. Got to give him an F. But there, like I said, there's good and bad in all of it. So, you got to take it for what it's worth. There's my man, Ali. I see you in here, man. I see you in there, man. I need to see Lance with the ones. We're not going to see Lance with the ones. Barring injury, we're not going to see Lance with the ones. All right. So, it just is what it is, man. Let me go down here and see what these new comments are. I'm going to get up out of here, guys. I'm not going to hold you guys much longer. We're going to do some breakdowns on the Patreon. We'll do the all 22 breakdowns on Patreon, and I'll have a better assessment going into next week, what I think this team is capable of. We'll also see a different game plan. There's no joint practice, so they're going to do more evaluation, better play calling on both sides of the ball once we get to preseason game week 2. So that's where we are. I want to thank you guys for giving us some time. I want to thank you guys for checking us out. For those of you that rocked with us through all 3 shows today, we went a little more than an hour in the preview show. We did the entire game over on Patreon, and then we were here for the Overreaction show that's going to end at about an hour and a half. You guys were phenomenal. Shout out to everybody who joined. Shout out to everybody who came in during the live. Shout out to all the Super Chat contributors. I appreciate you guys. I really, really do. Thank you all. You guys are my heroes. I do it for you guys, not for myself. So that's going to do it for us today, man. Thank you all. You guys were absolutely incredible. All right, and I'm going to get up out of here, man. Y'all know the saying. Say it with me. Prepare for glory. Anticipate pain. But always remain faithful. We out of here. Peace.
We all gas, no brakes, pumped up, no fakes. We spinning, we winning, we high stakes. We never miss, we all makes. Look at us dudes trying to prove, bringing you news with nothing to lose. Mike, Nick, Tony, Wayne, Method Man, we bring the pain. Hey. See, I'ma confess it. We under the pressure. If you looking to find us, we them nothing but Niners. Nothing but Niners. We nothing but Niners. We nothing but Niners. We nothing but Niners.